I mean, you name it. Everybody's here. Now, one of the things that you might want to think about is, why did the British state support mass immigration in the first place? Okay, what were the benefits to power of bringing in all these foreign groups? You have to get out of your mind slop center-right narratives that it was a Marxist ploy to bring about a communist revolution. All of that is bollocks. Okay, the Union steadfastly opposed immigration for many, many years. I can show you free to choose episodes from 1980 with Milton Friedman arguing for open borders from a pro-capitalist libertarian point of view. It was the libertarians, it was the capitalists, it was capital that supported immigration. Now, granted, over time, the left was cucked, the left was, shamed into supporting immigration, or they were kind of psyoped into coming around and supporting the establishment or whatnot. But make no mistake, the thing that was driving immigration in the first place were the interests of capital. Now, why was it important for capital to bring in foreign workers and foreign populations? What was the problem caused by the unions in the first place? And think about unions from the point of view of elite theory. Unions were a way for the native population, the native workers, the poor, right? The poor, the masses, if you want, to organize between themselves. They didn't have to answer to Lord this and, this aristocrat or that aristocrat. They didn't have to answer to this twat and Eton and that twat and Eton, or this middle class wanker or that middle class wanker. They were working class, run by working class for the working class. And the union, you've got to understand, the unions were not just unions. They came with a whole range of intermediary institutions, workingmen's clubs, various social groups that they had at that time, where they could meet up, where they could talk about things, where they could organize, where they could agitate, where they could come up with plans. And they did do that. And lo and behold, they figured out they had some power to strike, power to cause problems for the bourgeoisie, power to, bring a country to the standstill if they didn't get their way. That happened in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. And what happened? Eventually, capital, as represented by Thatcher and co., broke the backs of the unions. They absolutely smashed them. And they made it so that that situation could never happen again, by making sure that you had a plentiful supply of what they would have called scab labor, right? By ensuring that there were, rather than it being a homogenous group of white British men, for example, now you've got women, now you've got people from the third world, now you've got Indians, now you've got Pakistanis, now you've got this group, now you've got that group, now you've got, in America, Latinos, and God knows what. Well, guess what? If you've got a divided population, right, between all these different ethnic groups and so on, they're not going to be able to club together and organize as easily as they were able to in the 50s and the 60s, when it was just the British workers, quote unquote. Because now you've got all of these, tribal divisions underneath. Now, what David Betts is arguing is that those tribal divisions underneath are eventually in themselves going to lead to civil conflict. And I don't necessarily think that's going to happen.